Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and if you're new here, welcome as well. So today's video is a tutorial on this smoky eye look. I'm going to show you how I do it, what products I use, and some tips and tricks with smoky eyes as well. So if you're interested, keep watching. Okay, so starting off, I have just taken a concealer and I have just carved out my eyebrows. I've used the majority of the concealer at the top and I've just blended it down to the lid. This is just to make sure that we've got a nice base for our eyeshadow and to give us nice high pigment. So the first thing that I'm doing is taking an eyeliner. This is an eyeliner from NYX and I am just putting that all over the lid. Now I'm not going to go any further. If you open your eye, you can see where your natural crease is. You don't want to go any further than that. So just colouring in the eyelid. Just make sure you keep opening your eye to ensure that you're not going any further than you need to. You don't need to worry too much about the edges being neat because you're going to blend those out, but you just want to make sure that you haven't gone above your natural crease. Using an eyeliner is going to give you a nice base for your black eyeshadow, and it's going to be easier to blend out too. So make sure when you're choosing an eyeliner that it's a nice creamy consistency that you can blend out. Now I'm just taking a small brush and I am just blending out those edges. You want to blend upwards into your crease, but not touching the product on the lid. You don't need to blend any of that out, it's just the edges. This brush that I'm using is a Morphe brush, it's an M431. If you go for a big brush, it's going to be harder to blend it out and you won't have much control over the product. I just like to shape out at the edges. I like more of a winged out look. So I'm just going to move the product slightly upwards at the edge of the eye to give me that winged out look. Okay, once I've done that, I'm going to take my black eyeshadow. I'm using the Master Mattes palette from Makeup by Mario. This eyeshadow is perfect for smoky eyes. Even if you don't want to do a black smoky eye, you've got all your browns in there as well. I'm going to start with the black. Now you want to use a dense brush for this because what you want to do is press the product into the eye. If you're using a fluffy brush, you're going to get product everywhere and that's not what we want right now. This brush is actually a very old brush from Benefit that I've had for years, but there are so many brushes out there that you can use for this. I'm just pressing that into the eyeliner, and the eyeliner is there as a base for the eyeshadow to hold on to. So as you can see, as I'm pressing that down, the eyeshadow looks nice and dark, which is what we want. So you just want to press that where you placed the eyeliner in the first place. You don't want to go above where you've blended it. Again, just pressing in. And when I get to these edges, I'm just using any excess that is on the brush to press into the crease. I'm not adding product straight in there. Anything that's left over on the brush is what I'm going to use here. Now I'm just going to start bringing it above the crease very slightly. Only any excess that is on the brush, just bringing that slightly above. Once you're happy with the placement, just take a clean blending brush. This brush is from Morphe, it's an M514, it's one of my favourite brushes. And very, very softly, just blending out the edges. Not too far up, I just want to diffuse out the edges. Now I'm taking a warm brown shade. I'm only using the smallest amount. Make sure you dust off any excess. And I'm just going to start blending that into the crease. The trick is to make sure you've not got too much product on your brush. Sometimes I take a cotton pad and I just brush off any of the excess, and then you can go back in and just diffuse it out that way. You really don't want to apply much pressure at all because you want to make sure that you've got full control of the product here. So 2 key things to note is very light pressure and very little product on the brush. And now I'm just creating that shape I want at the edges. Now I'm taking this shape, so I'm taking that on a clean brush, and we're going to just start to softly blend that in. Now this colour is coming up to my brow bone, and this is where we should start seeing a transition into a brown. Sometimes the colour can start to fade the more that you're blending it. I like to go back in with all the colours and just fill out any areas that might be looking a little bit faded. And now I've just got a big fluffy brush and I'm just diffusing the top with a bit of the light brown shade, just so everything blends up nicely to that colour. I'm just taking some of the lighter shade in the palette and I'm just pressing this very, very lightly onto the brow bone. This is going to make the shadow look really nice and diffused because we've gone from very, very dark to very, very light. Okay, so what really makes a smoky eye stand out and really work is using a black eyeliner inside the waterline at the top and the bottom. So I'm going to take an Inglot Gel Liner. Now this is perfect for inside the eye because it's very, very long lasting and it's very budge proof. So just starting at the top, I'm using an angle brush from Lauder. This is an E06 brush. And I'm just pressing the product onto my lash line. Because what tends to happen, if you look under here, if you've got any skin showing, I've got really prominent lash lines and they're very, very light. So what that does, it ruins the effect of the smoky eye. So doing this, you won't have any skin creeping through and everything will look really, really nice and dark. And at the bottom. So doing this, you won't have any skin creeping through and everything will look really, really nice and dark. At the bottom, pressing that in. Make sure that you've got all of the lash line, even into the corner here. Now I'm going to take the pencil that we used on the lid and I'm just going to use that underneath. And you want to really press it in. You don't want any gaps. You want to get it as close to the lash line as possible. Some areas can be harder to get. So as you can see here, I've got a couple of gaps that I just need to fill out. Also, the reason that I'm using the pencil on top of the eyelid and underneath the eyelid and not the Inglot eyeliner is because the Inglot eyeliner is harder to move around once it's dried. So it's very, very budge proof, and if you're still blending and the product has dried down, you're going to run into a bit of trouble trying to blend it. And now I'm taking that small brush from the beginning and just blending that out. And when you smoke out the bottom, as you can see, the look is starting to come together now. A smoky eye really does work with a smoked out bottom lash line. As you start to blend, you just want to blend it up into the top to create that nice winged out effect. Now I still have a couple of gaps in here, only very slightly, that aren't quite dark enough. So I'm going back in with a pencil just to fill them in. Now I'm taking the light brown shade from the palette and we're just going to blend that underneath. Now, as I haven't finished my base makeup yet, I'm not going to do this too much because I'm going to wait until I've got my concealer on so that it can blend into the skin nicely. I'm just going to clean up any of the bottom and just wing that out a little bit. I always recommend doing your eyes before your base, just so you can clean up any of the fallout, especially if you're doing a smoky eye. Just applying my eyelashes. These are a half lash from Eyelash Emporium. Okay, so now that I've finished all of my base makeup, I'm just going to go back in and finish underneath the eyes. So I'm taking more of the brown shade and I'm just blending that in. So sometimes when I'm doing my base makeup, some of the product underneath the eyes can get faded just from using concealer and things in. So I'm adding in this brown, and then anywhere that I think I've lost a bit of depth, I'm just going to go back in with a pencil. And just smudging that out. I'm using a peaches and cream brush. This is a P14 brush. Now I'm taking the brown again. Now I like my eyes to be very nice and smoky, and so I like to diffuse this down a little bit further than normal, just so it blends into my skin really nicely. So you go from the black to the brown to the skin, and you want that just to all blend in really nicely. And then just bringing that up and winging it all out. And then just completing that with a smudge proof mascara, Estée Lauder Double Wear Mascara. And this is great because it does not move. So this does not smudge or transfer. And that is it. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and I hope you find it really helpful. A smoky eye can be a bit of a scary thing, but it's actually quite simple, especially once you get used to your eye shape and get used to the products that you're using as well. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.